You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Yeah, yeah. Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. Today, my guest is Miss Nia Adams, and she is the owner of Perspectives. And welcome, Nia. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing great. Honestly. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. So tell my listening and watching audience about your company and how you got started.
So my company is Perspectives. It's a personal finance education brand. What we do is we serve high achievement women and help them overcome money mistakes and break through bad spending habits so they can achieve financial stability. My company got started. I've been in business about 6 years, so
Mm,
August of 2017. And it really, to be honest, developed of my own money struggles that I experienced. And I kind of had to go at it alone, self correcting my finances and dealing with just all the woes that come with your journey to financial stability. And then I
yes.
became a resource. Like my friends and families, they start to call me with questions, and it was the epiphany I had, like, you are not the only one who didn't receive financial education. Like, you're not the only person who doesn't know these answers. You've been going at it like you were, but you're not. And so out of that, that made me decide like more people need this. And
Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely. Sania, you are the best friend that every person needs, regardless of whatever the financial status is. You are that BFF that everybody needs. One thing I
absolutely.
absolutely loved about your company, your slogan is money management is a form of self care. Let me just repeat that because somebody's going to get that aha moment with that little slogan. I love it. And it is money management is a form of self care. So let's talk about it. Let's just go to that ugly place. We're not supposed to talk about money with proper etiquette. We're not supposed to tell friends how much we make. HR tells us not to discuss money with other coworkers. All these things about money, 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 money. But then when you're broke, it affects your your mental health. It affects your it affects everything. Let's dig deep in there. Talk to us. You are that money medicine lady. You're going to help us through this today. Let's talk about it.
So what you said is what I teach all the time. Your mental health and your financial wealth are
Mm,
completely related. And
right.
we're not talking about cousins that you only see at family gatherings and funerals. This is that close cousin that you grew up with more like a sister because
Mm,
they're so related. If you have a huge expense that you don't know how you're going to pay for and it's coming up and it's getting closer, how do you feel? You feel stressed. Sometimes you're laying up at night, you're worried about it, you're irritable, it can cause
yes.
you to have headaches and just all type of different things. So it's very important to just take control and remember that you are the CEO of your wallet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The CEO of your wallet. Before I go to the flip side of that, I want to stay here for a moment because not only is it, we talked about headaches, the physical things that can come from the stress of weight gain, all of these things because of
Mhm.
on the flip side of that is debt, right? It's good. It's something when you don't have it, but when you have debt and piles of it, oh my goodness. So, what are the top three things that you tell people who are dealing with money problems?
So the first thing I tell them is it's okay. Don't focus in a lot of times we have a habit of beating ourselves up and we're always our own biggest critic. So just be okay with the fact, okay, you made a mistake and that's fine. You're not the only one who made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes because we're struggling for progress. Practice makes progress.
Mm,
Nobody is perfect. So that's one thing I think that's a huge thing that you have to overcome, because a lot of times when you're sitting in that mistake, you'll avoid your finances, you'll continue to push it off or procrastinate. And once you become okay with the fact that, I just made a mistake and that's okay, I feel like it kind of releases a little bit of the tension so that you can get to work. The
Mm,
second thing I'm gonna say, and a lot of these things are gonna be like, "Oh, well, she didn't give any steps," because the mental part is the biggest part. So it's gonna take you doing that first. The second thing I'm gonna say is look into the root of your money habits.
ooh.
How did you grow up seeing money? What was your first relationship with money look like? And then how do you feel about people who have more money than you and less money than you? Believe it or not, that says a lot about your money mindset, and it will shape how you use money. And
Mm,
then the last thing I suggest is you want to set goals, and these are going to be SMART goals, very specific. You want them to be timeable, relatable, and actually achievable so that you can have a set way to measure your success as you work towards that goal. That to me is the first three steps you need to take before you even actually start doing the work.
those are all great actionable items that people can use today. Now,
Mhm.
does the person listening to this whose rent is due tomorrow and does not have it? Now, there's broke and then there's broke, broke, broke. I mean, that's a really hard place to listen to that and be like, I mean, I need money now. I can't figure out my money relationship situation and how I got started. Because yes, that's something that can be dealt with once you are in a place where bills are paid and you can breathe a little bit. And I can
Mhm.
start, trying to work out those issues. But if someone needs money today, what would you say to that?
My first thing I'm gonna do, like, say, okay, it's September 27th. We're
Yes.
we're approaching the first of the month. I'm
Yes.
gonna start selling. What do I have that I haven't touched in a year? What do I
Mm,
have that I haven't used recently that I bought because I wanted it so bad and I had to have it? But at this moment, I haven't touched this thing, looked at it, it has dust on it. I'm going to wipe it down, clean it out, make it as good as new. And I'm going to go on either one of those. We have OfferUp, we have Facebook Marketplace with so many different avenues to sell used items.
yes.
That's
Even
where I'm going to go first. I'm gonna
mm,
go there first because I'm gonna try to sell those things. Of course, I'm gonna look at my resources and tap into my resources, but I'm going to work to fill that gap as much as possible without adding to my debt.
ladies and gentlemen listening, watching, this is why I said Nia is your new BFF. And before we get any deeper, go to perspectiveschange.com. That is her website. So let's keep moving on here because now, if we are talking about, okay, we're in a place where bills are paid, I can breathe a little, but let's talk about the money relationships because some households may have been single family home. Mom always struggled, saw having to face. There was never any McDonald's money, or it could have been the opposite, where two-parent household, but dad was the breadwinner and mom never had it. So how do you now go back and look and fix some of those relationship issues with money?
So, can I use myself as an example?
Absolutely, please.
Okay, so
Even
just to give a little bit about my story, my mother was a single mother. I
mm,
was her third child, and she
mm,
was 17, 18 when she had me.
wow.
So just paint that picture right there. Three
Uh,
children, you're 17 years old. That shows you right there, there's going to be some money struggles.
oh
It's
yeah,
going to be some not McDonald's monies. It's
yeah,
going to be some where is my next meal coming from
yeah,
days with
yeah.
that alone. So I grew up without, I experienced food scarcity growing up. I was the youngest. Most of my things is going to be hand me downs when possible.
Mm,
Rarely have things to myself because, we're trying to make things stretch. So, one way that that manifested in me, which it took me a while because I had several money journeys. And the first time that I was able to make improvements with my finances, I made it transactional. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is I only just took the steps. Okay, they said do this. Okay, let me do this. Okay, I just took the steps. I didn't sit down and think about my past and think about what did I do with money? Did I ever talk about money? Did I ever see money growing up? How did I see money used? So that's the first thing you want to sit down and think about. For
okay.
me, I saw money as scarce when I grew up. We didn't have money conversations. We never had money talks, which is one of the reasons with my business, I make money talks normal. Like just
Mm,
conversation, informal. This is not a formal, intimidating presentation because
okay.
I didn't have any money conversations and money was scarce. So what I did is I grew up, and then once I got comfortable and I had a decent job and I had money, I would keep my cabinets, my refrigerator, everything had to be full at all times. I could not have anything empty. And I realized that was me saying to myself, I'm not going to be without again. Like, because
Mm,
I have a daughter and I myself am a single mother. My daughter now is 22. But this was like growing up. When she was growing, I wanted my daughter was never going to experience what I did. And because of that, I'm going to make sure. But who's in the house eating all this food that I'm filling the cabinets with, and I'm filling the refrigerator and the freezer? It's just us two. So I'm wasting money essentially because things are going to waste. Things are expiring. And it took years for me to realize that, but that's why I was doing it. I felt good just to see that my freezer was full. It felt like an accomplishment for me. But in reality, that's money that could have been invested. That's money that could have been towards my debt, could have been towards my goals. I was in heavy debt when I was doing that, you
wow.
know? So
Wow.
that's me personally, like one of the ways that I really was able to break through some of those.
Oh, we're going to go even deeper now because we're going to have our own little money talk. So, this is a real situation. The beginning of this month, talking to one of my girlfriends, and we had a situation where bills were paid, everything was good, and the I made a suggestion. The thought of spending, let me just throw a couple of $1,000 on
Mhm,
just herself.
mhm,
I'm let's say $2,000 on something that she wanted. It was not a need in the household, not one of the kids, not one of the, I said, just because you deserve it, go for it. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle because most women spending
mhm,
money on themselves
mhm,
is the big issue. Is a
mhm,
big, you got to justify it. Oh, I could use this money for, so I could use this, but for yourself. And I love it so much that your slogan is money management is a form of self care. That is part of your self care. Of course, be
mhm.
responsible and take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. But the thought of spending $2,000 on something for just themselves, it would be a no. That does not happen with most women.
So that's absolutely correct. And it's so funny that you say that. So my book, Budgets, Mindsets, and Money Moves, it actually has a chapter. Well, it's called Money Management and Self-Care. But what you mentioned is exactly what I talk about in the chapter.
Wow.
We
Wow.
are so quick to make sure that everybody else is good, everybody else is fine, everything is taken care of. But then when it comes to ourselves, we very easily push ourselves to the bottom. We'll say, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it. Go ahead and take care of this. Oh, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. We do it and it
Yes.
becomes a habit. So not only do we teach society to put us at the bottom, we teach society that it's okay to make us the last priority. And then we also only say I deserve when it comes to spending. We don't say I deserve when it comes to investments. We don't say I deserve
Wow.
when it comes to building our emergency fund. We only say I deserve when it comes to spending money. So
Wow.
these are the mindsets that we have to work to correct because financial stability is the goal, but we always like, oh, I deserve this purse. I deserve this. You deserve investments. You deserve to not have to work till you 70. You deserve to have a full emergency fund and not be worried in case of an emergency or unexpected expense. You deserve that. And the other thing to remember is there is no reward for being the most worked. There is no reward. You're going to get paid the same way.
You're so right.
You're going to get paid the same way. Paycheck going to come on the same day. They're not going to pay you early because you did everything for everybody else first. So
That is so good. Tell
mhm.
people how we can find your book.
So actually you can get it for free. I'll cover, you just pay the shipping and I'll cover the cost of the book. Go to thefreemoneybook.com.
thefreemoneybook.com. Listeners,
Yes.
viewers, you heard it here first. All you have to do is pay shipping. Depending upon what part of the world you're in, pay the shipping. The book is yours and it could change your life. Speaking of books, you are an author of 3 books.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about each one.
So the first book I wrote was in 2019. It's called The 30-Day Money Challenge. And it is for you to take 30 days and focus on your finances. And each day has a small task. And it might be decoding your paycheck and all of the different codes and acronyms that's coming out of your check. Where's that money going? What is this? How do I fill out my W-4 form, which tells me how much taxes there's going to get taken out? Knowing all about your money. Then it goes into calculating how much income you will need during retirement. Because we talk about retiring all the time, but we never sit down and figure out like, well, how much money will I need in retirement to cover my bills? So it's kind of like a 30-day focus on your finances. My second book is called Life is Short, Buy the House, the ultimate guide to preparing for home ownership.
Mm,
Because most first time homeowners, they go into home ownership, they have no clue about the process. They
mm,
purchase their house poor, which I have done myself. Full disclosure, I don't lead with, oh, you need to do this, not that. It's more so of an educational from that standpoint. And I tell my own story, of course, in every book.
mm.
Um, but the goal and the purpose of the Life is Short, Buy the House, it has a chapter that breaks down like, what if I buy a single family home? What if I buy a condo? What if I just keep renting? What if I get a multi-unit? It compares and gives the pros and cons of each one of those so that you can make an educated decision. It tells you what to do so that you can prepare for home ownership. It
Uh-huh.
has a glossary at the end that gives you all the real estate terms you should know when you're going through the home buying process, as well as it breaks down the process and teaches you how to look for each person on your home buying dream team. And then
Wow.
my last book, I actually came out with that one this year in May. It's called Budgets, Mindsets, and Money Moves. This book is all about you gaining confidence in your financial decisions and gaining clarity in your finances. And it's not about budgeting, oh, this is how you budget, this is how you save. It's more so of a self care journey, it's more of a self awareness journey. It's talking about the different things that you do. Like, okay, back to kind of what you said about we put ourselves last. It's a part of the book that talks about how about when somebody gives you a compliment on your clothes. And instead of saying thank you and smiling, we say, oh, I got this. Oh, I had this for
Yes,
10 years, girl.
yes.
Oh, no,
It's
I got this for $2.
yes, yes, yes.
Just say thank you
And move on.
and accept it, receive it. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Because
yes.
even if you did have it for 10 years, we all know two people can wear the same outfit and it look completely different.
This is true.
So if they telling you you look good, baby, you did that.
That's all that matters. That's it.
Exactly. You
Accept it
did that.
graciously, move on. Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's more of a self-awareness journey, and then each chapter has 2 actionable steps to help you actively come out on the other side.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Listeners, if you're not convinced by now, that website again is perspectiveschange.com. Check it out. So back to our conversation here, Nia. One thing that I was thinking of is when we talk about money, if a person had 10 to 30K, what would be a good solid investment that perhaps they could invest in and let that build residuals or build something at an investment that they could start to work with?
So unfortunately, I'm not going to have an exact answer for you because that's going to depend on the person and
Mm,
their financial goals.
mm,
So do you have children that you have college that you will have to pay for? Are you an empty nester and you're only looking to create goals for yourself and you're just looking to retire? What age are you trying to retire? You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's very hard to give, like, I don't believe in cookie cutter solutions. So it's based on you and your goals. So like for me, my daughter's 22. So she's grown and out, on her own and working on her own. So I'm trying to retire early. So for me, I'm going to invest that money in some stocks. Of course, some well-researched stocks, and not just blindly investing because somebody on Beyonce's internet told you to.
Yes, please.
Actually, yes, like researching and learning how to and educating yourself on how to invest. And then I'm a real estate investor. So I'm going to look into what I can do with real estate. If I'm not looking to actively control that real estate, I'm going to look into some REITs, which is kind of like you being able to invest in real estate, but you're kind of crowdfunding for another investor where you don't have to get hands on. So the options are out there. You can also use it to crowdfund a business. If you have a business that presents themselves, you can take that money, help crowdfund them, have a guaranteed return. So there's so many different ways, and you can be
Yes.
creative with how you earn, but you're going to do it based on what your ultimate goal. That's my question. Like you say, I'm the best friend you need. That's the question I have for anybody who ever asks me a question. Well, what's your goal? Because whatever move you're making, whatever money move you're making, it's supposed to be towards your goal, not away from it.
Yeah,
So that should be always your question whenever you're trying to decide what's the ultimate goal? Where am I trying to get with this? Because you want the steps to go closer.
that is awesome. Being that this is 2023 and somebody were to retire in the next 10, 15 years, how much, because you did touch upon retirement, and
Mhm.
God willing, we're all live to enjoy retirement in our golden years. What would you say the average income should be to have a good nest egg?
So right now that could vary. It also could depend on, excuse me, it could depend on if you are, I'm not gonna say bougie because I don't think that's a term. If you like higher end things or if you're a minimalist. So like me, I'm a minimalist. I'm a traveler. So to me, my most important thing in my retirement is going to be the ability to travel. I don't need a big house. I don't care about car. We purchase a new car like before I retire, but it won't be like anything fancy. I love to travel and just experiences with my money. Somebody else, they might have like this gold car that they want to retire with. So I'm gonna say that if you were looking to have a great nest egg and you want to be able to live very comfortably, maybe you want to travel, not have to ever worry about being a greeter at Walmart to make ends meet
Oh,
in retirement. I mean, we keeping it real. We
no,
keeping
true,
it real.
true, true.
I'm gonna say you want to look to have. I'm gonna say over 1 million. Like they used to say that 1 million, or they used to say get $1 million, but it's just hard to give a set number because it just depends on the person. But if you want to have a comfortable, I'm gonna say shoot for more than $1 million because you want to put a strategy maybe that you're purchasing investments and they have dividends. Me, ideally, I have a retirement where I will purchase stocks that have dividends. When I'm to retire, I will be getting the dividends distributed
Yes,
to me and not
yes.
have to touch my principal balance. So even though I might have a nest egg in there, I'm not planning on touching it. I want to be able to leave it to the next generation and create that generational wealth. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's hard to give cookie cutter because technically which way you do it, you might be able to purchase a lot of real estate and then just liquidate it to retire.
Beautiful.
It's the options are endless. Like you can get so creative with money, and as you see, I get excited. Like I could talk about money all day. But it's just so many options out there, but you just need that person that you could talk to or just educating yourself and finding out that those resources are out there.
So, do you ever go out? Because the biggest gap, I feel, my personal opinion, is that kids, even in my own educational career, I did not get a
Oh,
money course, how to manage money, how important credit is. I remember filling out a credit card application because I wanted the Kit Kat bar that they were giving out at the college campus. So, and then I spilled it, spent like $500 on J.C. Penney. It's ridiculous. But those courses, do you ever provide lectures, courses, or anything, or workshops?
so first, let me tell you, they got me too.
Oh, they did. Oh, Lord.
'Cause at that time, I didn't know anything about money then, so I maxed out cards, girl, got judgments on my credit,
Yeah.
because they came back like,
Yeah.
Where my money?
Yeah.
So I do. So I'm a speaker. So I'm a speaker and I do speaking engagements. And currently, right now in the US, they have about 22 states who have now instituted a new law that is requiring financial literacy in the schools. So slowly but surely, they're starting to increase it in different states. We have certain bills that, like, I'm in Chicago, and we have a bill at the House right now. So they're trying to implement it, but no, none of us. I don't feel like um, we got financial education. Like you said, talking about money was taboo. So you didn't talk about money. Like, you told me I couldn't run it in and out your house, but you never explained, like, well, that's because you're going to run up my light bill
Right.
and my, I can't afford all the AC that you're going to let out the door. So
Right.
you need to pick one.
Exactly. Stay
So
in or get out. Exactly.
we
Exactly.
didn't get that, detailed of a description. We just heard don't go in and out. So I feel like it's something that's needed. So I do. I get hired by organizations, as well as companies, to come in and do speaking engagements for youth as well as adults.
Going back to that education, is that at college or high school level?
It's more so high school level.
Okay, okay. That
Yeah.
is excellent because implement it early, let them know, let them manage, and boom, there we go. There we
Because
go.
they're going to make mistakes, but if you have those seeds already planted, it's just a world of a difference, man.
It is. It truly is. So let's pivot a little bit. So we talked a little bit more about a money story and ways that we can implement it. Now let's talk about someone who's in their first year of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
What are some key advice? I mean, first of all, you got to make sure your business is sustainable because, as someone once said, it's otherwise just an expensive hobby. So, if you're not making money, what would you do in order to help someone make that transition? Either they're leaving corporate and trying to get into entrepreneurship. What advice would you give?
So the first thing I'm going to say is you need to have your magic number.
Mm,
I am not a preacher of hurry up and leave your 9 to 5 to start your business, because this entrepreneurship journey is a tussle.
it is.
I agree with you. Before you are talking about leaving your 9 to 5, your business need to be sustainable, because sometimes the first idea you have will not be the successful one.
Mm,
Look at any wealthy mogul in the news or read their story, and you will find out their first business venture, the world never knew about
right. Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So definitely create your magic number that your business needs to be making in order for you to make that transition. So your business needs to be bringing in this amount of money consistently, CPR, consistent, predictable revenue, in order for you to be able to say, okay, goodbye. Eh, Don't think of your job as a lot of times you see the memes online and they say, oh, your job is a bribe for you to forget your dreams. No, your job is the funding of your dreams. My job funded my business. My business wouldn't be where it was today because I would have had to operate out of desperation because I needed a dollar, as opposed to operating my passion, which was the true reason why I opened my business. So
Mm,
that's what I say to that. The next thing is, if you started your business today, on this wonderful Wednesday, you do not need 500 business cards, a full website designed by the top of the line website designer, as well as the banner. You don't even know what your business will be yet. So you've now spent all those hundreds of dollars on a business that's not generating revenue net yet, when you should be finding out what are the income generating activities in your business so that you can focus time on those, so you can fund those things. Not saying you shouldn't have a website and things like that. Of course, you have to build your brand. But the first day you start your business, you don't even know what your brand personality is yet. I did that and I rode around with 500 business cards in the back of my car for at least a year or two, because I changed my brand colors, I changed my logo, I changed everything when I figured out exactly who I wanted my brand to be. So
mm.
that was all just money that I just threw out the drain. And then the last one is going to be, please don't commingle. Do not mix your personal
Oh,
assets with your business assets. So I know that when you're first starting your business, you're typically funding it with your personal assets. However, you can still open one account, and even if it's a personal account, still only handle your business transactions in that one account.
Mm,
Go The goal of that is you want to make sure that you're able to actively really see what is going on in the business financially. If
mm.
you're mixing all the money, you don't know whether the money's coming or going. You don't know if the business made this money. Did you loan that money? You just don't know. So it's very hard for you to even determine if your business is profitable. So that's my top three
So
tips.
good. That is such a good one, especially the last one, because God forbid you get sued and then that's everything in one pot. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Because when you commingle those assets, you give them permission to pierce the corporate veil, which basically means that if somebody sues your business because you blended the assets, they're going to blend the lawsuit and they're going to take your personal assets because you told them it was fair game.
That is so good. That is so good. Nia, tell our audience that's listening and watching about your business and ways that you work with people.
So for individuals, I have courses like my Money Moves course. If you haven't noticed, everything me is about your money moves.
Yeah,
So my signature course is the Money Moves course. It's a 4-week course. It's self-paced. So you take it on your own time. It's not long and drawn out. It's straight to the point because I understand my typical student is the busy woman. You're getting pulled in so many different directions. So I'm not going to hold you here. I don't think any module is over 30 minutes. It's all about straight to the point. It gives you actionable answers as well as workbooks to work on. And then I also, if you want more of a hand holding, more accountability, more assistance as you go through it, then I have a monthly membership. Other than that, I work with organizations. So I help build out financial education programs. I help build out curriculums. I facilitate programs for different organizations if they need someone to come in and facilitate it. As well as, of course, like I said, I'm a speaker.
that's awesome. What about offers? Do you have any offers for our audience?
So as I said before, my book, you can get it free and I'll cover the book. You just pay the shipping to get it to you. It's thefreemoneybook.com. So they can feel free to take that. Or if they wanted to take my signature course, the Money Moves course, if they go to my website, they can find it. And then they can use the code GOALS23. So GOALS 23, and it'll give them $100 off.
So, Nia, I have another question for you. In relation to worthiness and your relationship with money, how does that correlate?
So I think sometimes, a lot of times, it can be your upbringing. So, for example, if you grew up struggling and struggle is all you know, sometimes mentally you only see yourself and equate yourself with struggle. You want to equate yourself with wealth because you've never seen wealth. You don't know what that looks like. You doesn't know what that feels like. So why would you equate yourself with something that you don't know how it operates or that it exists? You only see what you see in the media. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So if you grew up and you were always struggling, I've seen people say, well, they don't feel worthy of home ownership or they don't feel worthy of wealth because they've never known anybody to be wealthy, or the only person they knew were probably like scamming or they got the money illegally. They haven't been around a legit and legal
Mhm.
wealthy person. So sometimes it comes from your upbringing, life experiences, and different things. But it's something that if you don't feel worthy of wealth and you don't feel like you're worthy of what your goals and dreams and desires are, then that's something for you to begin with. Because believe it or not, that's absolutely affecting how you use your money. You ever heard of somebody who self sabotages their relationships because
Oh, yeah.
they've never had a good relationship and they don't know what it's supposed to look like?
Oh,
Same
exactly.
thing. You're purposely just making decisions that's going to draw you deeper and deeper into the hole because you don't feel like you're scared about where wealth is. You don't know what that is. That's the unknown. And
Mhm.
you don't feel worthy to be in that space. How do you operate in that space? What do you say? What do you wear? What do you do? You see what I'm saying? So you'll purposely not ever
Elevating.
get to that point. Correct.
That's so good. One more, one more. As we were speaking here, I was just recalling how my business mentor always encouraged me, Maggie, be around wealthy people, go in
Mhm.
their home, talk, learn how to speak like them, be around them, network with them. And she was like, you always, through the process of osmosis at the least, you will begin to develop those habits. You will begin to manifest those things. And it wasn't so much of the material aspect, but it was just
Mhm.
be around that energy and you'll start attracting it as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 250%. It's not necessarily about the money because that's the thing. I know it's called money moves, but none of this is about money. It's not about money. It's not a, money is just a tool to help you get to your goals. It's about the other parts. Your network determines your net worth.
Yeah,
So if five people around you are wealthy and doing all of the things that help acquire wealth and
yes.
success and be a better person, you're going to be the sixth. If
Mm,
five people around you are not doing any of those things and they're doing things that's going to be detrimental to their life and their success, again,
gonna be
you're going to
this
be the sixth. So
exactly.
it's highly recommend. And not only that, you get around them and you're like, oh, you get used to this. You're like, oh, this. You find out about new things. Like I say, I love to travel and have new experiences. You learn about things that you didn't know existed. And
So
it's like, wow, this is nice. I really like this.
so
You
true.
know?
So
Yeah, so I highly I mean, and if you don't, necessarily know someone very close, you can look on meetups or, social circles. A lot of social media groups have Facebook groups or different, communities that you can implant yourself in and start to build those type of networks. Join an organization, fraternities, sororities, you
true.
know, all of those things are helping you get in touch with people who wouldn't be in your immediate circle. That's really what they're all about.
So true. One of the
Mhm.
things we did not point out, Nia, as we were speaking, success begets success. And with that, you do and talk to money mindsets. We we
Mhm.
we touched upon it, but we never really directly addressed it. So those money mindsets, some of the things that go on. Let talk to me a little bit about how you work with clients regarding their money mindset.
So one of the things I tell them to do is start to keep their mind and ears open for negative self-talk.
Mm,
Um,
so good.
when you're saying something negative about yourself, or if you're always have, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Oh, well, how, and it's always a negative tone. Start to work to replace those. Start replacing those and say, like, oh, I'm going to do this. Not
Yes.
if, or maybe, or I might, I'm going to do this when I do this. You know what I'm saying? Speak it into existence. Like they say, put it out there into the universe until you believe it. Say daily affirmations. So if you sign up for anything I have a weekly newsletter. One of my newsletters that comes out every month has a mental health moment, and
Mm,
it gives you an affirmation to say. Each month you get a new affirmation. Start saying daily positive, self-love and money positive and abundance mindset affirmations, because at the end of the day, what you're doing when you have a negative money mindset, you're living a life of lack. You're
mm,
living a life of scarcity of, oh, it's going to run out. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. As opposed to living in an abundance lifestyle. Well, what's meant for me is for me. And if it wasn't ready when I got there and I didn't get it, that's because it wasn't meant for me. That was meant for something else. It's something bigger waiting on me. So
exactly.
start to change how you think about things. So that's kind of what I tend to do. I have them say affirmations. I have them start to pick up on the things that they do and like pay attention to themselves. It's a self-awareness journey. So they start to listen and think about, oh, I do that, don't I? And
Mm,
those things affect your money. If you think lowly of yourself, you'll buy things to impress people who you don't even like. And hell, they probably don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And you've spent this money that you really didn't have to impress them for what, when it could have been going towards your goal. But it was all based on how you felt about self.
true, true. That was excellent, Nia. Thank you.
No problem.
That is fantastic. Nia, as we get ready to wrap up here, any last minute parting words of wisdom regarding money, money, money?
I would say is you need a budget. And I know that people don't like the word budget, and it's because they associate budgeting with penny pinching, but
Mm.
a budget is not meant to be restrictive. It's meant to be all inclusive. Your budget is your BFF. So just like your BFF, when you do something good, you tell her like, girl, let me tell you. And then when something bad, you still come tell her, right? And be like, girl, let me tell you what. You need to treat your budget the same way. Tell it when you did good with your money. Tell it when you did bad. All it's there to do is be the window to your wallet to tell you how that affected your finances. That's
Mm.
it. That's
And that BFF budget is another form of self-care.
It really is, man. I'm so serious.
That is awesome. Nia, again, thank you so much for your time today. And everyone listening, please be sure to check out perspectiveschange.com. Nia, it was an absolute pleasure to have you today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I had fun. This was fun.
You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.